So I live in Los Angeles, and we recently had a kind of wildfire scare. I guess a little less recently than I'd like to admit. There was a fear that I might have to evacuate my house, so of course I took all the essentials with me, my, most valuable possessions, which of course means that I took my entire Blu-ray collection. Luckily nothing happened to my home, it's still here. Basically what that means is I had to put all of my movies in bags, and now I have to put them back onto my bookshelf. And so I thought it would be a good excuse to do this Blu-ray collection video so that I can kind of reorganize my collection and put it back in there. I usually talk about books and music on this channel, but I thought it'd be a fun change of pace to talk about movies because it is really my first love. I'm an actor, so I try to stay away from talking about like newer movies because I don't want to like screw myself over if I say like, oh, this Steven Spielberg movie sucks, and then I'm trying to get cast in a movie and they're like, oh, we have this recording of you saying that this Steven Spielberg movie sucks, and then I don't have a job. But these are all movies that I really love, so I think we're in safe territory, and they're also older movies for the most part. So I'm gonna go through my Blu-rays in alphabetical order, then I'm gonna do my box sets, followed by the TV shows that I have, then finally my DVDs, which I don't have much of. So for fear of making this video even longer than I'm sure it's going to be, let's get started. First off, we have 8.5 by Fellini. Oh, by the way, some of these I'm going to talk about in a little bit more detail. Some of them I'm just going to like say the name because everybody knows these movies. 12 Angry Men by Sidney Lumet. This movie is great. It's a classic that everybody can get into, regardless of how you feel about black and white film. It's just got great dialogue. 12 Monkeys. This is a Terry Gilliam movie. It's like a sci-fi dystopian with Bruce Willis, and it's really fun. It's really crazy and dark. It's kind of like Brazil, but I like it even more than Brazil, I think. I've only seen Brazil once. 3:10 to Yuma. This is the remake with Christian Bale and Russell Crowe. I've only seen this once, and I really liked it. The 400 Blows by Francois Truffaut. This is probably my favorite French new wave movie that I've seen so far. Okay, moving on to the A's, we have Adaptation by Spike Jonze, written by Charlie Kaufman. Love Charlie Kaufman. Afterlife by Hirokazu Koreeda. This is a great Japanese film. It's like people, before they get transitioned into the next part of like heaven, basically, they select one memory to be filmed and kept forever. We have Akira. This is a good movie. I didn't love it as much as I thought I would, and I've only seen it one time, but I remember it being fairly weird, and it got a little bit long for me, but I'd be down to rewatch it because it had a lot of interesting ideas and people love the movie, so who am I to say? Aliens, and then I also have the Alien 6 film collection. I've only seen the first two Aliens. I haven't opened this yet. American History X, great movie with Edward Norton. Funny thing about this movie apparently is that Edward Norton like went into the editing room and kind of tried to re-edit this movie, and the director really didn't. The director and him kind of butted heads, and he wanted like his name changed in the credits to Humpty Dumpty, I believe is the story with this, but Edward Norton's one of my favorite actors of all time. And yeah, very formative acting movie for me. Amour by Michael Haneke. This is a very sad, very, very sad, tender film about this guy's wife who is suffering from Alzheimer's. Yeah, this movie is devastating. Apocalypse Now. This is includes Apocalypse Now and Apocalypse Now Redux. And then I also have Apocalypse Now, the final cut, which is like all the versions of Apocalypse Now. It's this cool like Army of Shadows by Jean-Pierre Melville. Haven't seen it yet, but it looks cool. The Assassin. This is by Ho Shou Shen. I don't know if I'm getting that right, but this is he's from Taiwan, I believe. I didn't love this movie. I thought it was pretty boring, but I want to rewatch it because I was very tired when I put this on. But I remember it being very slow and not as action-packed as I was thinking it would be. At The Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward Robert Ford. I love this movie, one of my favorite movies ever. Casey Affleck gives one of my favorite performances ever in this. Brad Pitt is also amazing in this. This is like one of my favorite performances of his, I think. Just a really great, long, also kind of slow movie, but I don't know. Everybody talks about how long this movie is, and I just don't see it that way. I feel like it's just so good at like inviting you into the atmosphere. The movie centers around Robert Ford, who eventually assassinated Jesse James, who was like the first real like American celebrity. And it goes into basically like celebrity culture in its infancy in America. So it's a really cool movie. Avengers Infinity War. Okay, now we're moving on to the B's. We got Baby Driver. Back to the Future trilogy. I really like this steelbook. It's like glossy. Badlands. I do have this wrapped right now, but I have seen the movie by Terrence Malick. It's wonderful. I think it's Terrence Malick's first movie. So amazing that this is his first movie. Barry Lyndon by Stanley Kubrick. I've only seen this once, but it was amazing, and I really want to watch it again. It's just like very long. It's like 3 hours. The Before trilogy by Richard Linklater. This is one of the most viewed movies that I have in my collection. The best romance movies ever. Probably my favorite trilogy ever. I know that's probably controversial because, you know, The Lord of the Rings exists, but I don't know. This is my favorite and most watched trilogy of all time. The acting is incredible. The writing is great. Ethan Hawke, Julie Delpy, they're amazing. So definitely the best Richard Linklater film too. Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, speaking of Ethan Hawke, it's got Ethan Hawke and Philip Seymour Hoffman, you know, just two of the best, right? Philip Seymour Hoffman is probably my favorite actor of all time. He has been since like I was in high school, and I would say he probably still holds that crown for me. They play brothers who plot to rob their parents' jewelry store. It's very dark, and it's one of Sidney Lumet's last movies. I think it was his last movie, actually. Being John Malkovich, 3 films by Ingmar Bergman. These are all great. They're all like his faith trilogy. They all center around like religion. One of these movies, Winter Light, reminds me a lot of First Reformed, if you've seen that movie. This was my introduction to Bergman's movies, and I loved all of them. The Big Lebowski by the Coen brothers. Big Trouble in Little China. I haven't seen this, and I didn't know I was buying a Region B Blu-ray when I bought this, so I will never watch this version of the movie, but I just got too lazy to sell it. Birdman. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I bought this on eBay when I was in high school, and so I've got this like cool like red case with this part opens up. It's pretty sweet. I'm very proud of this. Yeah, I've seen this movie so many times. Blue Velvet, David Lynch. Brazil, I was talking about this earlier. I've only seen this once. I am dying to watch it again. It was a lot funnier than I was expecting it to be. I don't know why. I expected it to be very like cold and serious, but it's a comedy. The Breakfast Club, Breathless by Godard. A Brighter Summer Day. This is by Edward Yang. On a first viewing, this went into my top 5 favorite movies of all time. And I've seen this one other time since then. It's just so good. Edward Yang is one of my favorite directors. I've seen 4 of his movies, and all of them were just amazing. So yeah, I hope more of these become readily available. If the Criterion Collection like put out like a collection of his movies, that would be awesome. You know, most of them are not available in this accessible format. Love this movie. It's a 4-hour long Taiwanese new wave movie. It's a period piece about this real crime that happened, and I don't want to give anything away, but it is like a very tragic, beautiful movie. We've got Burning by Lee Chang-dong. Okay. Oh no! I knocked over the stacks. Oh, everything is ruined. Okay, moving on to the C's. We've got Cafe Society by Woody Allen. I don't remember a single thing about this movie. Capote. This is where Philip Seymour Hoffman plays Truman Capote, who made Breakfast at Tiffany's and In Cold Blood. In Cold Blood is one of my favorite books of all time. This is one of Philip Seymour Hoffman's best performances. He won an Oscar for this role. It's amazing, like how he transforms into Truman Capote. Bennett Miller, who directed this, is so underrated. He made Moneyball and he made Foxcatcher. But anyway, yeah, great movie. Not just a great movie for the performance, but just a great movie in general. Very well written and directed. Castaway, Robert Zemeckis. I've honestly never seen this movie, which is a little bit shameful for me to admit, but I've not seen it. Chinatown, incredible movie. Chronicle. This is a movie about some boys who get superpowers, but it's darker than that premise sounds. Close Up by Abbas Kiarostami. This is an amazing Iranian film. A guy who does something in real life is playing himself in the movie, and it's like part fictional and part documentary. It's super strange. Code Unknown by Michael Haneke. I remember this movie being really boring, but I saw it like years ago and haven't seen it again, so maybe I should rewatch it. Come and See. Very dark movie. I've only seen it once. It was effective, for sure. The original cast album, Company. Company is one of my favorite musicals. Behind the scenes of them recording the cast album for the musical Company by Stephen Sondheim. I'm stressed that they underwent doing that. It's only 53 minutes. It's super short, but so good. Filled with Great performances. Okay, moving on to the D section, we have the Dark Knight trilogy, of course. Dazed and Confused. It's the Criterion Collection version. Really cool, like, version of that. Dead Man by Jim Jarmusch. Death of a Salesman. This is an adaptation of my favorite play of all time by Arthur Miller. One of my favorite pieces of literature ever made. And this is like a made-for-TV version that Mike Nichols directed with Dustin Hoffman and John Malkovich. It's maybe not the best play to film adaptation. It does feel like a made-for-TV adaptation, but it definitely gets the job done. John Malkovich is awesome in this movie. District 9. Django Unchained. I've got this like steelbook version, which is very cool. Don't Look Now by Nicholas Roeg. I haven't seen this movie yet, but I can't wait to. The Double by Richard Ayoade. Richard Ayoade's directorial sophomore effort after he made Submarine. And this is Jesse Eisenberg plays like a doppelganger. I think it's loosely adapted from a Dostoevsky book, but it's like a dark comedy. Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb by Stanley Kubrick. Very funny, satirical movie. The first time I watched this, I thought that was really boring. And then the second time I watched it, I was like, nah, this is actually amazing. So there you go. Moving on to the E's, we have East of Eden by Elia Kazan, starring James Dean. The Elephant Man by David Lynch. Wonderful movie. One of David Lynch's probably David Lynch's most straightforward film that he has ever made. Although I haven't seen all of The Straight Story. The End of the Tour by, who made this movie? I forget his name. I think it's James Ponsoldt, but I believe it's the same director or writer of The Spectacular Now, which is great. This is about David Foster Wallace, who wrote Infinite Jest, which I'm actually reading right now, and the book that I had started in high school and got like 300 pages in, but now I'm just restarting the book. Getting back into it. And I have read other David Foster Wallace books that I've talked about on my channel before. But yeah, it's about this interview between this Rolling Stones writer, David Lipsky, interviewing David Foster Wallace, played by Jason Segel. Beautiful movie. Such a good movie. I recommend it to anybody, even if you are not familiar with David Foster Wallace. I think it'll get you into his work. Eraserhead by David Lynch. One of my favorite David Lynch movies, maybe my favorite. Up there with Mulholland Drive, for sure. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It is sealed, but I've seen this like a million times. Another Charlie Kaufman movie. Wonderful, love it, one of my favorites. Moving on to F's, we have Fantastic Mr. Fox by Wes Anderson. This is also the Criterion Collection version. It's so beautiful. This movie, I think, is maybe my most watched film of all time. Up there with like Scott Pilgrim versus the World, probably. And The Dark Knight, maybe. Yorgos Lanthimos' The Favorite. Fight Club. Steelbook. The Fighter by David O. Russell. This is my favorite David O. Russell movie. It's got Christian Bale, gives an amazing performance. First Man. I bought this before seeing the movie. It was pretty good. First Reformed. I think one of the best movies of the last decade is Paul Schrader directed this. Ethan Hawke and Amanda Seyfried are in this, who both give wonderful, amazing performances. But yeah, I've seen this movie so many times, and I can't recommend it enough. It's about this priest who becomes obsessed with climate change, and it kind of depresses him and makes him turn in on himself even more than he had been already. Very well written. One of the best like screenplays of the last decade for sure. The Fisher King. This is another Terry Gilliam movie. So funny, so wonderful. Jeff Bridges and Robin Williams. Robin Williams plays like a homeless guy. 5 Easy Pieces. This is with Jack Nicholson, directed by Bob Rafelson. Foxcatcher. This is a movie I was talking about before. Bennett Miller. Great movie. Full Metal Jacket. All right, next up we have the G's. We've got Ghostbusters. This is a steelbook. Very cool, very glossy, very fun. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by David Fincher. Oh my gosh, no. The Godfather trilogy. Gone Baby Gone. Wonderful movie, directed by Ben Affleck and starring Casey Affleck. I think this is better than Mystic River. The Gone Baby Gone and Mystic River are both from the same author. I think this movie is handled a lot better, with a lot more like groundedness. Gone Girl, David Fincher, one of my favorite David Fincher movies. This is a cool addition because it comes with this like children's book, Amazing Amy Tattletale. If you know the movie, you know that Amy's parents write children's books based off of the missing girl, like their daughter. And so it's like a real like children's book that they made with like illustrations and everything. for the movie. That's so cool. It just takes like a level of effort that most people are not willing to take, especially these days for a Blu-ray release. Good Morning by Ozu. I've seen 2 Ozu films now, and I wasn't crazy about either of them. Kind of bored me. I'd be willing to try them again, but yeah. The Graduate, one of my favorite movies of all time. Endlessly rewatchable. The Great Escape and The Green Mile. I've never seen this movie still. I've had this in my collection for so long and I've never watched it because I know it's very long, but I know it's supposed to be good. I'll watch it. All right, moving on to the H's, we've got Harakiri. This is by Masaki Kobayashi. Watch this movie. Hardcore by Paul Schrader. I haven't seen this. Hereditary.
Why did I say it like that?
House, another one of my favorite horror movies, if you can call it that. Just such a fun, crazy Japanese movie that I've shown to a group of friends for my birthday one time, and it's a good movie to get reactions out of people. Howl's Moving Castle, one of my favorite Studio Ghibli films. Moving on to The Eyes. Ikiru by Kurosawa. Hot take on this movie too. I don't think it's that good. I think there are other more modern movies that also tackle these existential themes with more nuance than this movie does. This movie just feels a little bit exaggerated. Not one of my favorite Kurosawas by any means. The Incredibles, 4K. Now, I know I just dissed a Kurosawa movie and said that it wasn't that good, but I'm about to say that The Incredibles is one of the best movies ever made, but it is. It's one of the best movies ever made. I mean, you might roll your eyes if you haven't seen this in recent times, but watch it again. You will be convinced of its brilliance. Incredible writing. The animation holds up surprisingly well, and specifically like the style and the direction. It's just all so perfect. Everything works together perfectly. Even the voice acting is wonderful. The score. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this movie. It's a perfect movie. So maybe my favorite animated film of all time. Inside Llewyn Davis. This might be a top 10 favorite movie for me. This is by the Coen brothers and stars Oscar Isaac. It's about this folk singer in the early 60s, kind of. It's like pre-Bob Dylan's explosion to popular culture. It's like a love letter to the forgotten folk singers of that era. Heartbreaking, but kind of weirdly inspiring movie. If you're an artist, I think you should watch that. In the Name of the Father, one of my favorite Daniel Day-Lewis performances, actually. I mean, I think it got an Oscar for it, right? So maybe it's not that weird of a take, but it's definitely not as like transformative as some of his more like, I guess, flashy roles, which are also great. The emotion that he brings to it feels so real. It's just, he's very convincing in every role that he does, but I love this movie. Isle of Dogs by Wes Anderson. Okay, apparently I don't have any J movies, so let's move on to K. I've got the Coker Trilogy by Abbas Kiarostami. Very meta and gets really strange. Kramer vs. Kramer. Krisha by Trey Edward Schultz. Horrific movie. This is the same director who made Waves and It Comes at Night. And I was an extra in his upcoming film with The Weeknd and Jenna Ortega and Barry Keoghan. So I'm excited for that movie to come out. But yeah, this was his first movie. And this is 3 films by Stanley Kubrick. 2001: A Space Odyssey, A Clockwork Orange, and The Shining. Moving on to L's, we have Labyrinth. Such a fun movie. If you haven't seen it, it's like a cult classic. David Bowie's in it. He plays the Goblin King. It's so adventurous and whimsical and silly. It's a lot of Jim Henson puppets. If you're not sold already, I don't know what to tell you. Lady Bird, brilliant movie. I'm from Sacramento, and this movie really spoke to me. So I love Greta Gerwig. And this is probably my favorite movie of hers still. La Haine by Matthew Kassovitz. This is like a French do the right thing. Yeah, it's about like racial and cultural and but especially like economic disparity in France and like police violence. And basically this group of friends gets a gun and action and craziness ensues. Really great movie. Maybe my opinion might be that it might be a little too derivative of Do the Right Thing. If you catch me on the wrong day, I might say something crazy along those lines, but I don't know. But you didn't hear it from me. Late Spring by Ozu. Again, I was kind of bored by that movie, unfortunately. This I found at a 7-Eleven, and I'm pretty sure this is a bootleg movie, but it's Leaves of Grass. This is where Edward Norton plays twins. I think I watched like 30 minutes of it, and I didn't love it, but I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm an Edward Norton fan, so I picked it up. The Lego Movie. Leon the Professional. Steelbook. I really like this Steelbook. And the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Controversial opinion, yet again. I just don't need the extended editions. I just don't. These are long enough. I'm good. I'm good. All right, moving on to the M's, we have Macbeth. This is the one with Marion Cotillard and Michael Fassbender. Magnolia, Paul Thomas Anderson. It's wrapped, but I've seen it many times. Manchester by the Sea, another one of my favorite movies of the last decade. There are a lot of references to this movie on my channel, actually. Yeah, Casey Affleck gives one of, I think, the best performances of all time. Margaret. This is with Anna Paquin, and it's written by the same guy who wrote Manchester by the Sea, Kenneth Lonergan. He's also like an acclaimed playwright. He wrote This Is Our Youth, most famously, but also Lobby Hero, a bunch of plays. Great playwright. Yeah, he's one of my favorite writers in contemporary drama. Marriage Story by Noah Baumbach. I think my favorite of the year that came out. The Master. This is a top 5 favorite movie for me. Paul Thomas Anderson, one of the best directors of all time. And Joaquin Phoenix in that movie, I think, is my favorite performance by an actor ever. Mean Streets, Martin Scorsese, great movie. Meantime by Mike Leigh, another one of my favorite directors and writers. A lot of great early performances from Gary Oldman. I think it's Gary Oldman's first performance, but he's barely in it. And then Tim Roth is in it. A lot of great. Mike Leigh always works with like the best British actors. Memories of Murder by Bong Joon-ho. If you loved Parasite, watch Memories of Murder. Midsummer by Ari Aster, great movie. Millennium Actress by Satoshi Kon. Satoshi Kon made Perfect Blue, most famously, but this movie's great as well. This is also like a PG Satoshi Kon movie. So if you want something like made by that guy, but not as intense as Perfect Blue, this is a great movie to watch. Mirror by Andrei Tarkovsky. Maybe my favorite Tarkovsky movie. I'd have to rewatch all the ones I've seen again, but such a beautiful movie. Beautifully shot movie for sure. All of his movies are, but yeah. Mishima, A Life in 4 Chapters by Paul Schrader. Great movie about Yukio Mishima, the author, and his controversial life. Mission Impossible 4 movie collection. I think this was the first Blu-ray I bought when I got my Blu-ray player when I was in high school. So very nostalgic for me, and these movies are all awesome. Well, not the second one, but the rest of them are great. Mommy by, I believe this is by, Xavier Dolan. French movie. This is one of the most beautiful movies in my entire collection. I think this is a South Korean company that makes these editions. I mean, it's a very expensive edition. I got it as a gift. But yeah, like they've got like these postcards, like art cards, a booklet of the film. With all that art in there. Beautifully packaged edition of a wonderful, heartbreaking movie. It's a movie that I've only seen like twice because it is just a lot of emotional commitment, but look at that thing, man. That's great. Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Mulholland Drive, My Neighbor Totoro, another one of my favorite Studio Ghibli movies. And moving on to the ends, we have Naked by Mike Leigh. This is another one of my favorite, like top 2 favorite performances of all time. David Thewlis in this movie is incredible. This is directed by Mike Leigh. This is my favorite movie of his. Nashville, Robert Altman. The Night of the Hunter by Charles Laughton. I've only seen this once, but it was amazing. Scary performance by Robert Mitchum. Nocturnal Animals by Tom Ford. I've only seen this movie once too, and I remember loving it, so I should go back and rewatch it. Now moving on to the O's, we have The Old Man and the Gun, which I haven't seen. On the Waterfront, one of the best movies ever made. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And Ordinary People, another one of my favorite movies. I know I keep saying that. And Timothy Hutton's performance, and Mary Tyler Moore's performance, and Donald Sutherland's performance are all some of my favorites of all time. This trio is crazy. Oh, and Judd Hirsch is great in this movie too. But yeah, Timothy Hutton is the youngest actor to win an Oscar. I'm pretty sure that's true. He won for Best Supporting Actor, although he's definitely the lead of this movie, so that's strange, but so deserved. He's so good. Okay, moving on to the P's, we have Paprika, another Satoshi Kon movie. Wonderful mind trip of a movie. It's the movie that inspired Inception. Parasite. We all love Parasite. One of the most deserving Best Picture wins ever. Paris, Texas. Paths of Glory, Stanley Kubrick. Perfect Blue, Satoshi Kon. I talked about this before. It definitely gives The Incredibles a run for its money in terms of like my favorite animated films, but this one's obviously, it's much darker and it's a horror movie. Maybe my favorite horror movie of all time. I guess I can say that. If you haven't seen this and you're okay with dark, violent, and uncomfortable stuff, give this a watch. Phantom Thread, one of my favorite movies of the last decade. And when I say the last decade, I mean like the previous decade. Picnic at Hanging Rock. This is a great movie. By Peter Weir, Australian. The Place Beyond the Pines. The Prestige. The Princess Bride. In this beautiful Criterion edition. It's got like a storybook thing to it. Princess Mononoke. Psycho. And Punch Drunk Love. And moving on to the R's, we have the Raid collection. It's the Raid 1 and 2. We have Ron by Akira Kurosawa. This is an insanely beautiful version. It's the 4K, and it's got this slipcover with the steelbook inside. So cool. Rashomon by Akira Kurosawa, which I have not seen. Rebel Without a Cause. The Red Shoes, beautiful movie. Room. Rosemary's Baby, one of my favorite movies of all time, for sure. The Royal Tenenbaums. Rumblefish, Running on Empty. Great performance by River Phoenix in this movie. The Rush Hour trilogy. These are kind of fun. And Rushmore by Wes Anderson. Okay, moving on to the S's, we have Seven, Seven Samurai, The Seventh Seal, Shaun of the Dead, The Shawshank Redemption, The Shining. Again, I have it twice. Silence of the Lambs, Slumdog Millionaire. I haven't seen this movie actually, but you know, I bought it to give myself an excuse to watch it. The Social Network. This is like a comfort movie for me. I've seen this movie so many times too. Yeah, love this movie. So good. It's a perfect movie. It really is. Solaris by Andrei Tarkovsky. If you like Interstellar, give Solaris a try. It's a lot slower. It's Tarkovsky, so like all of his movies are really slow, but aesthetically there are a lot of similarities and kind of thematically, I guess. I guess maybe more if you like 2001: A Space Odyssey, maybe that's a better comparison. Some Like It Hot by Billy Wilder. So funny. Such a good movie. Source Code. Now, I haven't seen this since I saw it in the theater when I was like in middle school. Let me give like a little story about this movie. I know it's like the most kind of forgettable, I guess, movie. Jake Gyllenhaal's in it. This was really what cemented me becoming like a film fan. The Dark Knight was definitely a pivotal movie for me because Christopher Nolan is such a good like gateway drug kind of director to getting into other films, because I don't think I even knew what a director was until I saw The Dark Knight. And then I watched Source Code, which is like a really mind-bendy movie that you have to think and it's like confusing. So I loved The Dark Knight. I loved this movie. And then my dad like showed me in the newspaper like, the director of The Dark Knight is making this movie Inception. It's supposed to be a mind-bending movie. And I was like, the guy that made The Dark Knight is making a movie kind of like The Source Code. That's, you know, I have to see this movie. And then of course I saw Inception and I loved it. So then I'm like, oh, I need to watch all of Christopher Nolan's movies. So I did. And then that got me into other directors. Weirdly enough, this movie that nobody cares or talks about was really pivotal to me. The Spectacular Now, I talked about this movie. Great coming of age movie, very sad. Spirited Away, Split, The Squid and the Whale, great Noah Baumbach movie. Stalker, Andrei Tarkovsky. Star Wars trilogy, the original trilogy. The Sting. Stranger Than Paradise by Jim Jarmusch. Kind of a weird premise for a movie, but such a good movie. And Synecdoche, New York, which, you know, I've said is my favorite movie since I was in high school. And I think I'm in a less nihilistic place than I was when I originally watched this, but I still don't think I've watched a movie that has impacted me as much as this movie impacted me at the time that I saw it, you know, when I was in high school and like going through some struggles and hardships. You know, there was a time when I watched this movie 3 times in 2 days. It's a depressing movie, I'll be honest. But all of the themes that it tackles are themes that I was constantly mulling over in my brain at the time. And so I don't know if I could encounter a movie like this in my life now that would have the same level of impact on me. But of course I'm open to it. But yeah, so I still consider this to be my favorite movie And every time I watch it, I'm reminded of what's so good about it. First of all, it's got Philip Seymour Hoffman and Charlie Kaufman, two of my favorite artists ever. And then on top of that, you have Michelle Williams, Catherine Keener, all these great actors. An incredible screenplay, incredible direction by Charlie Kaufman. Yeah, anyway, I'll stop gushing about this, but a very important film to me at a very pivotal time in my life. Yeah, it gave me a lot of comfort. So, Synecdoche, New York. Hard title to tell people, yeah, go out and watch Synecdoche, New York. Okay, now on to the T's. We have Tampopo. This is a Japanese movie. It's like a parody of spaghetti westerns. It's this woman who is trying to be like the best ramen maker in Japan. It's got the structure and some of the like archetypes of spaghetti westerns, but it's a comedy and it's very weird, and there's like the strangest sex scenes with food. Taste of Cherry by Abbas Kiarostami. I haven't seen this one yet, but I've heard nothing but amazing things about it. Taxi Driver. This is a pretty cool addition. The Thing, The Thin Red Line. Throne of Blood. I haven't seen this one yet. Tree of Life. I mean, one of the best movies ever made. And Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. Okay, I've just got 2 movies in the U section. That would be Umberto D. This is the first Criterion Collection movie I ever bought, because when I was living in Sacramento, I like never saw Criterion Collection movies out in the wild. And so this is the first one I ever saw. And so I bought it up and still haven't seen it to this day. But it's by Vittorio De Sica. It's an Italian movie about a guy and a dog. I don't know, man. Sometimes I just buy things. The Usual Suspects. And I've got a few V movies. Got David Cronenberg's Videodrome. Really awesome, surreal, weird movie. Then I've got V for Vendetta, Watchmen, and Constantine. Never seen Constantine, but seen the other 2. I've seen Watchmen a lot. Visions of 8. This is, they got 8 directors to film the Olympics in 1972 in Munich. I haven't seen this yet, but it sounds really interesting. And then I'm going to butcher the title of this, Vivre sa vie by Godard. I like this more than Breathless. More people need to talk about this movie in terms of Godard, in terms of French New Wave movies, I guess. Not that it's not talked about, probably. It's never talked about, I guess, when I'm in the room. But yeah, it's so good. Now we're moving on to the W's. We have Wild at Heart, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Whiplash, another one of my most watched movies. The White Ribbon by Michael Haneke. This might be my favorite Michael Haneke movie, up there with Funny Games. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? This movie is incredible. I mean, adapted from one of my favorite plays by Edward Albee, and I think the best play-to-movie adaptation ever made. It's got Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor, who give just the best performances. Feels like you're drunk watching it. It's so intense. It just feels awful to watch, but it's so well written, so well performed, and well directed by Mike Nichols. And a funny thing about that movie is Edward Albee wasn't thrilled with like the casting decisions because they didn't go with who he chose. He's a very particular guy. And he also said about the movie, he's like, oh, I don't know why they made it in black and white. I wrote it in color. You got The Witch, Woman in the Dunes. This is a Japanese movie adapted from a book, which I haven't read, but the movie's great. Very unsettling and claustrophobic. It's this guy who gets trapped in these sand dunes, basically. The Worst Person in the World. We need to talk about this movie more. I know it was like when it came out, in the year that it came out, people talked about this movie a lot, but man, such a wonderful movie. Every time I watch this, I love it more. It's by Joachim Trier, and it's Norwegian. It's so creative. Just one Y and one Z. We have Yi by Edward Yang, who made A Brighter Summer Day. This was his last movie he made in 2000, and it's beautiful. Set in modern times, dealing with death. Watch Edward Yang's movies. And then Zombieland. Another one of my most watched movies. So those are my regular Blu-rays. I'm going to quickly do my collections. Coen Brothers, Blood Simple, Miller's Crossing, Raising Arizona, and Fargo. Got this 4K Alfred Hitchcock collection, which has Rear Window, Vertigo, Psycho, and The Birds. Got this John Cassavetes 5 films collection, and I had never seen any of these movies before buying this collection, and I was a little bit underwhelmed by most of them, but I will say that Opening Night and A Woman Under the Influence were amazing. I mean, especially Opening Night, I think, was great. And Jenna Rollins in A Woman Under the Influence and Opening Night, two of my favorite performances by an actress ever. And it's John Cassavetes' wife. Eventually, she became his wife. She's so good, especially in A Woman Under the Influence. Like, you can watch it just for that performance. And Peter Falk is great too. And I have Jacques Demy's films collection. It's got Lola, Bay of Angels, The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, The Young Girls of Rochefort, Donkey Skin, and Une Chambre en Ville. I don't speak French, man. I don't know. But the only ones I haven't seen from this are Donkey Skin and Une Chambre en Ville. I'm sure I pronounced that perfectly. The other ones were great, especially like The Young Girls of Rochefort. I also completely forgot to mention that I have this Casablanca box set that I bought years ago at Amoeba for apparently $40. It comes with a poster. What's this poster? I should probably hang this up. It's kind of cool. I don't know why I've never hung this up. Pretty sweet poster. It came with some coasters, which I use all the time. This book, art book. Very cool. Lots of different stuff in here. I haven't opened this in forever. Just a lot of stills from, looks like, behind the scenes. And then what's in here? What is this? Oh, this is the movie itself, obviously. Okay, I don't know why. It looked like a booklet at first. I need to rewatch this, man. It's been so long since I've seen it. And then, yeah, the coasters are in here. A couple of them are out right now in my room, but there's one of them. There's two of them. Pretty sweet set. I like it. Oh, big problem with this set though is the box doesn't close like all the way. Like it just kind of sits on top, and there's some damage there as well. But like, look at that. It's kind of annoying. But other than that, pretty sweet set. That's all of my director collections. So I'm gonna quickly do my TV shows. I don't have many, but of course I've got this Twin Peaks. It's the entire show of Twin Peaks, including The Return. Got Avatar, The Last Airbender, the whole show. Futurama, Volume 2. Paranoia Agent by Satoshi Kon. This is like an 13 episode miniseries. So good. Rick and Morty, Season 2. Love Rick and Morty the first couple seasons. And Rock of Love, Bret Michaels' VH1 reality TV show. I'm a sucker for bad reality television. Yeah, love this terrible, terrible show. It's like an affront to humanity in the best way. Okay, now I'm gonna do some DVDs. I've got 500 Days of Summer, The Aviator, Cool Cat Kids Superhero. This is like The Room for children's movies. The Diving Bell and the Butterfly. Do the Right Thing. I regret getting the DVD of this because I want the Blu-ray. M by Fritz Lang. Shortcuts by Robert Altman. I regret getting the DVD of this too. It was a blind buy and I was buying other Blu-rays at the time and I didn't have like money to get just like 4 Blu-rays. So I got like 3 Blu-rays and a DVD to justify my spending habits. But such a great movie. It's based off of Raymond Carver's What We Talk About When We Talk About Love, which I actually read last year and you can watch in the previous video that I made on this channel. Snatch. Haven't seen Snatch. Swiss Army Man. Same writers and directors of Everything Everywhere All at Once, but this movie came out before. Everything Everywhere All at Once is a lot better, but Swiss Army Man is really good and showed a lot of promise that, they delivered on. There Will Be Blood, one of my favorite movies ever. I'm waiting for a 4K to come out before I get a Blu-ray, and I've also just seen this movie so many times, I really don't need to watch it anytime soon. And Vera Drake by Mike Leigh. I haven't seen this yet. I think that's everything. I'm pretty sure that's all the movies. This video ended up being shorter than I thought it would be. I also have a lot of movies that are at my parents' house that I only have in digital formats over here, but I just didn't want to take up all of my bookshelf space with movies that I technically had on digital formats. So this isn't even the whole collection, but it definitely at least gives you a taste. But yeah, thank you for watching through this entire thing if you've stuck all the way through. I am working on my favorite lyrics video, my part 2, but yeah, life just got busy, so this video took longer to come out than I anticipated, but I'm exhausted. I'll see you in the next one.